And we're live
Hello.
from the studio in Killarney.
Hi, guys.
Welcome to Luna and the Druid. This time from high in the Cork and Kerry Mountains, the cabin, the Druid's cabin, the Druid's Grove, and it was a
Karma.
it was
She's just like, I want to be acknowledged.
it was a karma day today. Yeah, yeah. We took Karma and our dogs for a short walk today. When Luna arrived, they weren't really acquainted yet. They had to get used to each other.
A little bit.
Yeah, and they did. They did.
And
They
they
played.
did.
They
And
played.
we were so happy.
We were.
And
we
then
were.
karma happened.
Yeah, karma happened. Yeah. We forgot that we had some hens running around in our yard, and the hens are normally quite well with dogs because we have two dogs, and the hens play with them and run around with them, and there's nothing wrong. But Karma, being a terrier,
Yes, being a hunting dog.
and chased one of the hens into the field, and well, we haven't found her back yet. She's probably hiding somewhere. Hopefully, and the other five are safe in their coop now. So
Thank God.
nothing can happen. But so here we are on a Monday night, Luna, and we, because of all the things that happened today, we're just here randomly having a great time, and let's just talk about what we talk best. Let's talk cards.
About cards. Yeah,
About
that's
cards.
a good idea.
Yeah, because we're both card readers. We both read with the tarot, but this girl is very much a specialist in
Oracle cards.
Oracle cards.
I started with reading tarot, but when I got my hands onto Oracle cards, it got under control a little bit because there are so many Oracle decks. And the reason I love them is because they allow to go deep in a specific subject. For example, if there is a reading about soul lessons, the tarot will give you wonderful answers. However, it's the oracle, if you have a right deck, it's the oracle which actually allows to go even deeper and bring more precise answers. However, it sounds weird comparing it to tarot because tarot is super precise and it's just very sharp.
Yeah.
However, there are sometimes very specific areas of the life where oracles can bring answers and guidance at the same time, which tarot will do as well, especially if you've been working with tarot for longer. Oracle cards have a different energy to it as well. There is a lot of intention being put into it, especially for the people who create oracle decks. And I believe that oracle is like a jam to a toast. It just brings something extra on top, because I always start my readings with tarot because that's how I read the energy. And sometimes I will stick to tarot cards, but at some point I will always grab an oracle deck, especially when I'm looking for some guidance, because oracles can be a great source of showing the way. Rather than interpreting a card, very often they just give a very precise answer.
They do. And so would you say you hardly ever use just oracles or just an oracle?
I use them for TikToks, for videos. It's more of the content creation where I would grab an oracle deck and, for example, do the guidance for today reading or a specific topic. Yeah. But reading with clients, it always starts with tarot, and very often ends with tarot as well.
Yeah. Because I have done the same in the past, and in the end, I just walked away from it.
Why?
I could do it all with tarot.
That is so true. Tarot is precise, and tarot can give you all those answers as well. Yeah. It's 78 cards, so there is a lot of symbols on them as well, and they intertwine with each other, and they can bring beautiful story as well.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? To me, the tarot isn't just, for instance, a single card doesn't say this is the meaning of the card. No, a single card has a primary meaning, then it has 3 or 4 layers with deeper
Mm,
meanings. Then there's an astrological meaning. There's um, a correspondence. There would be correspondences to the Kabbalah, to the Tree of Life,
mm,
and everything. So you can use that. You can use the parts of the Kabbalah. So it's giving you already a myriad of opportunities. Then we have the spread. So the tarot, the card meaning is different because of the location in the spread. So you say you only have 78 cards. Uh, I would say the 78 cards would give like billions of
oh,
possibilities. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And even, for instance, because the backs of my cards are not symmetrical, so I don't do reversed cards,
Mm-hmm.
but I read reversed meanings. But
Mm-hmm.
then based on its neighbors and the position in the spread. So
Mm.
so sneakily I do reversed meanings, but I use them in a different way uh, than than cards being upside down. And especially when I do live readings, there's someone, I'm sitting here, the other person is opposite me on the table, and I always have the cards so that the querent, the one I'm reading for, can see them properly. So I read all the cards upside down. I only
Mm.
read reversals. Sometimes I say, well, do you read reversals? All the time, only. All the cards are upside down to me.
That's so true. I actually I experienced that, and the first thing which was like, "Hey, you read your cards upside down." That was a really funny thing. And while you were saying, one thing which came to me is oracles are often easier to read by non-card readers. So
Yeah,
when I have a person in front of me and I pick oracle cards, it's more clear to the clients because many people don't know tarot, and
yeah,
then I don't
yeah,
have to explain as much.
yeah,
It's actually a really good and interesting question you asked me
yeah, yeah,
tonight.
yeah,
I just love the oracle cards
yeah.
because there is a different intention and different energy in every single box. And of course, the same situation is with tarot as well. There are so many tarot decks, and they all bring different
They
energy.
do, they do. Yeah,
However, I wanted to say I'm all about simplicity, but there is nothing more simple than tarot, actually, in terms of it's, I don't know, it's just,
Tarot is, there's simplicity there when you know what you're doing.
yeah,
I
of
occasionally
course.
say it's no magic to a magician. But
Exactly,
if
that's
you're
what
not
it
if you're not a
is.
magician and you get tarot cards, I remember my first tarot deck. I think it was 2003. I got the cards and I didn't know what to do with them. So just I think, oh, let's pull one card,
Mm,
and I pulled one and said, oh, a tower. Oh, that's a nice building.
that's a good stuff to
That's a
start.
nice building. Then I read the meaning. Oh, things are coming down. Things are it's destruction and renewal. And of course, you first read destruction, and then okay. And my question actually was, where's my life going?
Mm.
And it all came true within a couple of years. Everything changed, and it was uh, actually a complete rebirth. So the first card I pulled already showed me that the tarot has a meaning,
Mm.
can you be used for giving insights and ideas on what's going to happen. And
Yeah.
so that was very interesting. Yeah, what strikes me about oracle cards, that sometimes they have a single word on them, for
Mm-hmm.
instance what's in the picture, but sometimes they contain a message as well. They have multiple words. They have a sentence or an inspirational quote or whatever, you know what
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
have you got any oracles
I
here?
have one oracle here, but first thing what I want to show you is this book, "The Mirror of the Soul" by Gerd Ziegler.
Mm.
It's made for the Thoth Tarot, and what he actually does in all the in all the card meanings, he adds indications, questions, suggestions, and an affirmation.
Mm.
So when you have this book and the Thoth Tarot, you can turn the Toss Tarot into an oracle deck.
That's amazing. That's very thoughtful.
And of course, oracle decks have usually something between 40 and 55, 60 cards.
Yeah.
Now I have an oracle deck with 78 cards.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And just like Jan said, sometimes it's just a brief of information. And for me, as a card reader, because I always say about myself that I'm a card reader rather than tarot reader, because I read cards. So there is plenty of decks I don't resonate with. I look at them and it's like, it's not the deck for me, because there is not that thing I'm looking in a deck. And what I'm looking in the deck of cards is that connection, is that I look at the card, I look at the picture, and sometimes it may be just one word and I know exactly what it's about.
Yeah, so you're a cartomancer.
Card what?
Cartomancer.
What does it mean?
Like a necromancer or a neuromancer.
Yes,
well, actually,
I am.
it's a proper English word for a card, for someone who reads cards, because you can read cards. There are people who read playing cards.
Of course.
That's cartomancy. Yeah. And have you heard of lithomancy?
Having over 100 deck of cards, yeah, that suits me a lot.
Yeah.
And I've learned a new word today.
But for instance, let's use the card that I pulled. What it was 21 years ago, the Tower card, and the affirmation from the Tower card. So if the Tower card would have been an oracle card, it would have said, everything that happens in life is for the best. Boom! There you have your bad card.
Yeah.
So that's
that's deep.
It's deep and interesting.
But thank God you didn't know what actually tower means back then, just yet. Because,
not completely, because it talks about
Have you got any tower cards?
I have the Tower card here of the Toss Tarot.
Look at this card.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
The Eye of Horus brings renewal and destruction. You see the flames coming out of the mouth on the other side of the card. And there's, if you look closer, there's people falling down from the blasted tower. There's a snake and a dove there. So the snake is renewal, shedding your skin. A card with many, many, many meanings. And of course, a planetary meaning, Mars.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Powerful stuff. And so the indication is this card is a challenge to look inward. In this phase of integrating opposites, the transformation process will not tolerate any further impulses or pushes from outside. To find the hidden stone, the diamond, you must look within. Yeah. What does it mean? What does it mean now for you to find your hidden diamond? Suggestions: close your eyes and visualize a fountain of energy in your body. Bathe a while in this rejuvenating current.
That's lovely.
Interesting stuff.
Very interesting
and
stuff. Thanks for bringing it and showing it.
It's definitely something different, where you have a tarot deck that you can actually use as an oracle.
That's brilliant. Yeah. That's brilliant. I always thought of tarot being strict to the certain degrees, because every card with its meaning, is its major or minor arcana, is designed to represent an energy. And with oracle card, it's to create an oracle card. It can be as simple as just sitting with yourselves, going within and channeling messages. And many decks were designed by just channeling the message. And within tarot, if, for example, one of you would like to create a tarot deck, it requires more work, more effort to bring so much more into the one card. Because tarot goes very deep. It's not just symbols and meanings. If you put one extra thing on a card, it will definitely change the meaning and bring something extra in the reading. And with oracle cards, the interpretation can be just based by on feelings. In tarot as well, there is very many similarities between tarot and oracle.
Of course. Well, one card that I found very interesting. The last week I got some new decks by what's his name?
Is that the back of it? Oh, that's So cool.
Yeah. So that's this is the chariot. And of course, the chariot here has two horses. One is called Appetite. That's the black one that goes for the worldly pleasures. The
Mm,
other one is Will. That's the more spiritual guide. And the charioteer is called is Reason.
reason. That's
Reason. Yeah.
awesome.
So it's quite oracly. But what I loved very much about this, when we started working together, we named each other after cards. You were the high priestess, and what was I?
The chariot.
The chariot. And this card represents that chariot because I say, okay, Luna, hop on board.
Yeah.
The chariot is always seen with the horses up front, but now the horses are in the back, and the back we see the back of the chariot.
And sometimes
And so,
that's how I feel working with Jan, because we have an idea and I didn't even manage to wrap my head around it. And he's already onto it. And I just have to jump on the magical wagon. I love this deck because it has such a different way of looking the chariot, because that's exactly what it is. When the leader is charging and leading the way, we usually are behind him. So that makes so much sense, especially that they're actually flying here. I'm not sure if you can see, they're way above the ground, which brings a totally different meaning to the chariot itself.
and it's actually from a deck that's that you won't necessarily, you can read with it, but you can use it for other purposes as well. It's a deck for meditation and for inner work. It's the Alchemical Tarot by Robert M. Place.
That's amazing.
6th edition.
Oh my!
So it's all about alchemy and change and personal growth. And there's some cards are completely different.
Wow.
Than what you see in normal tarot decks.
That's advantage of sitting next to Druid, because I can get through his heart. Jan, I think we have a comment over there.
A comment? Let's see.
I'm not in front of my screen.
Usually. A lot of them. Oh, Richard, hello, there you are.
So
there they are.
To see you.
Hi, Richard. Beautiful, beautiful man. Hello to all listeners present live.
Hello, Magda. Hello, Richard.
Yeah, hello. Richard has a nice remark. So let's get there. I love oracle cards, he says. The conversation prompts me to ask, is it even advisable to use tarot cards when you are not versed or educated enough? Oh, that's a very good question.
I will always say yes. You can read tarot without knowing a lot, because most of the tarot decks will have a guidebook which will help you through the reading. It will show you how to perform reading, and it will give you the main meaning of the card. However, if you want to get better in reading tarot, you just need to read tarot and learn your own meanings and understanding, because it comes at one of our lives. I shared my story that I was drawn to tarot cards, and all of a sudden I got them. It happened obviously very magically. It just happened to be available for me. And what I discovered is, yes, I was using the guidebook, and yes, I was doing the reading while looking at the guidebook, but I also discovered my own messages, and that things started to come like intuitively to me, because to me, the card is a tool. It just opens a portal for me, where portal of higher wisdom which comes from me. And when I speak, very often I don't speak from myself. I speak through the wisdom which comes through me. But yes, tarot is it's, first of all, it's super fun. It's super fun. That's how it got me, because I was curious about all the meanings and how the cards correlate with each other. And that's how it starts, actually, because the fun might get you. But the tarot is very precise. I would say oracle is easier to read.
Yeah, because the meanings are on the cards.
Yes.
Obviously. Actually, one of my friend readers, he's more of a palm reader and a handwriting analyst, and he has a Rider-Waite deck with meanings on the deck. So the it's like this one with borders, but then the borders are wider and straight up and upside down. The keywords of the cards are written on the cards, and it's a very good way to study. And there's another trick using keywords with your cards or index cards or whatever, create them yourself. What many tarot teachers say, do a card a day reading.
That's a great
It's
way of
it's
learning.
kind of a good advice. I have a better advice. Do a 3 card reading every day. You'll learn 9 times as fast.
That's so true.
3 times true. 3 times 3.
Yeah.
I've been working with regular Rider-Waite-Smith decks, Marseille decks, and everything for years, and I was kind of okay with it. Then I got my magic book, the Toss Tarot, and I don't even have the box here. Actually, when you buy a version, the smaller cards also have a single word on them, like the Three of Cups, abundance, and the Six of Discs, the one we had in the reading last week, is called Success here, which is and the Seven of Wands, valor, and these keywords. Once I started working with this deck, with these keywords, doing 3 cards a day, I'm just using the keywords on the cards and try to turn them into a story. I would say within a month, I learned as much as in 10 years before.
Wow.
Yeah, it worked really well. For me, it worked really well. And the funny thing is, because as you can see, these pip cards, they're kind of abstract. There's no story here. So you have to create your own story. When I read this card, I would say, oh no, I mean this one. When I read this card, I always call the querent the fiery stick in the middle. I always say, this is you. And you're standing your ground against all the influences.
Yeah.
So you can even read kind of abstract cards and still have a meaningful story to them. And it works magic.
That's actually a great point. That it doesn't have to be necessary something exact on the card in order to be able to read it. And there are tricks, obviously. When I was learning tarot, I went for the main meaning, but then I discovered that there are certain symbols, certain colors, and certain numbers which represent certain things, and it gave me a different perspective on tarot as well, and it brings more broadened perspective and more a different access to the potential meaning as well, because one card can mean something completely different to different people in two different readings. Jan is pulling the Druid Tarot, and that's the very naughty deck. I already can see some naughty cards here.
So, shall I put my finger on it?
That card makes me really
The
very
Hangman.
happy. You can make a Druid there.
Yeah, that's very and these cards are very very figurative. So they tell a story, like the nine of wands, strength, boundaries, protection, the 9 of pentacles, wealth, spiritual growth, but also material growth. We have, of course, when we have the 9 of pentacles, we have the barren tree, but be sure that this time of year the tree will start developing. And the 2 of pentacles, where we have the juggler. So you see juggling, so you see change, you see things happening, all kinds of things happening. Or a very easy card, the 8 of swords, where we see a lady tied up, blindfolded, and when she feels around her, she feels all kinds of sharp things keeping her locked up. And I always say with this card, the only thing she has to do is rub her hands against one of the swords. Rubber hands. So the tied hands, untie her hands, take off her blindfold, and push away the swords. So there's the captivity, but there's a potential for breaking out. And so when you have a deck that speaks to you, like you have the Light Seers Tarot.
Yes.
Oh, that's a very modern
deck. I was going to talk about that in a second.
That's just look at the cards. What's happening in the cards? And you can already start telling a story. But did you know, I have the Light Seers deck. I read many times with it. I never ever bought it. I've never even glanced into the little white book.
Yeah.
I just took it out of the box and But there it was.
Exactly, and they tell a story, sometimes a different story than the traditional deck would, but it still fits
It's
into the
softer.
reading.
Yeah.
It is softer. I always laughed that I'm more of a modern witch with a modern way of looking at tarot compared to traditional druid who has deep roots in the tarot, in the history, in the meaning. Jan loves to bring all those fantastic decks from like 18th century, 17th century, which I absolutely love because then it deepens my knowledge about tarot as well. But I love this modern look because it's something, I don't know, something. There is a reason why it says light seers tarot.
Yeah,
It's
because
very light.
yeah.
The energy is very accessible. I have a friend who recently had her spiritual awakening and she got into tarot as well. And she's just learning tarot by reading it every day, looking at the card, reading just the meaning. And with practice, everything becomes easier. If you want to improve your skills or even start, is the only thing which I would suggest here is to just keep going and don't thinking, oh, I'm not well experienced to read tarot.
Mhm. Start for yourself
Experience
and just
comes with
read every
practice.
day and don't do
Yeah.
just one card, do three, because one card is just a meaning. But when you do three cards, if it wanted the simplest one, past,
Mm-hmm.
present, and
Mm-hmm.
future, read three cards, then you see how they've worked together, what they're doing together,
Yeah.
how how they transform from one card to another to a small story, and then you can do a five card
Mm-hmm.
spread where you do a start and a begin and an end, and then something happens in between,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and so that's how you learn.
And to me, reading cards is all about asking the right
Yeah,
questions. It's
yeah,
like with everything.
yeah.
And
Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, actually, this weekend I was in Dublin, Tala, this weekend, and of all the customers I had, I think more than half of them had no question at all.
you like that?
No, I don't like it, but but yeah, well,
That was
some
sarcasm.
of them were extremely surprised.
Of
It was
course.
they were hit like a truck, like by a truck.
That's
Yeah,
why they didn't have a question because they don't probably knew where to start. And it
yeah,
happens very often.
yeah, yeah.
And that's why I said, and it was pure sarcasm when I said we loved it.
Yeah.
Um,
We hate it.
yeah,
Oh no, not really.
because
But
it's not a problem because when
no,
you read cards
right.
or tarot cards,
Yeah.
as I said, it's all about asking the question, and then we get to ask those questions. And I remember Jan said one time a thing to his client, and he recently shared this with me. Do you remember what you had a client and you asked him, "Do you want me to use half of that time to get where?"
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
You could explain
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it was a planned day, so I just had 30-minute slots. There was no time for like with walk-ins. You can wait for the next, but everybody had just a 30-minute slot, and she doesn't have a question. And I say, okay, so we use 15 of your precious 30 minutes to find out what you're looking for, and then we have the other 30 minutes to find the answers. But you can ask the question, and we have 30 minutes to find the answers. So we go either flat or we go deep, and
Exactly.
that's the story.
And that's the importance of knowing of what you want to ask the cards and the
Yeah,
reader, or yourself, if you're doing the card reading yourself, is to know what you're actually looking for.
yeah, what you're
Because
looking for.
we will, as tarot readers, we will give you the answers on which area of your life requires attention. Of course, tarot will give you those answers. But it's better to be more precise and come prepared for a reading. And I always say to my clients, have a note and a pen, or you can record the reading, because there is no way you will remember everything,
No,
because readings are usually intense. There is a lot of information. A lot of information you may or may not like, and you may or may not like take on board, especially during the one intense reading. So having a question and asking a question from a perspective of a person who reads cards is super important, because it gives that special angle on what to look at.
yeah. And then
Thanks for the comments. And Magda said that she also loves oracle
loves
cards.
oracle cards, yeah. And then you come to the point where you want to take tarot further, and I recently was very inspired by someone who says a tarot reader is both the eagle and the owl,
Mm.
because the owl is knowledge,
Mm.
the owl is reading the big books of tarot, or of course this one, my favorite one, the Book of Thoth, a very complex and interesting book which you can read 1,000 times. But the eagle has the overview. The eagle has the intuition, knows when to dive deep,
Yeah.
and um, and I would more or less suggest, when you start the tarot, don't start with the owl, start with the eagle. Start working with your intuition.
Mm.
What does at a certain stage, get rid of the book and just look at the card. What does the card say? And then create your own meaning, and maybe check it later. Just write down your meaning, then check it. Can you say my reading was wrong or my idea was wrong? No, it's not wrong. It's additional. It's because
Exactly.
every card brings you more anyways. That's why a question is important. It keeps you on track.
There is no one way of reading cards. There
No.
is not. It depends on person who's connecting with
Yep.
cards. It depends on the deck of cards
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
So there is no such a thing as one way or right way. I often in my readings say, to me, this card means this and that, because after years of practicing tarot, I've gained my own way of looking at the cards. I read energies, like literally I feel things with my body when I'm reading cards. I hear stuff. It's just all my psychic senses are very active, and sometimes information will come from the card. Sometimes, for example, I will be drawn to a tiny little detail on the card and I will start talking about it, and the person knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And that's the key point to a whole new conversation or a whole new perspective. And another thing about tarot, which came to me right now, was tarot has been very often seen like a tool in devil's hand, like a thing for black magic. And
Yeah.
people are very scared of tarot.
Yeah.
When I say I'm a tarot reader, they're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
It
But
can happen. Yeah.
when I say I read angel cards, for example, they open up, even though it's the same thing. So the label and the energy it brings to some people can close them off or can actually make them open. But people are in general very curious about reading cards.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm gonna put the X on the tree of life, on the tree of tarot. Actually, tarot cards are just printed pieces of paper. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah, it's a tool.
It's a tool. They're printed pieces of paper, and
don't listen to him. Just cards. He's kidding. No.
Oh, is the card getting distressed a bit? The King of Coins. Oh.
Yes, don't listen. I always say that my cards are my babies.
Yeah. Well, actually,
but that's so true, and I'm glad you said it out loud.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought this to the table.
That does not mean that there are not energized, or there is no energy in them. I work my work decks before I take them to readings. I work with them. I modify. I use modified thoughts with the edges cut off, and I have a corner cutter. So I first cut them, and then all the corners, I just make round corners to them. So they're crafted by myself. So they're my cards. Then after a certain number of reading, I take them all apart and clean them with a damp cloth, and put new talcum powder on them. One by one with a shaving brush. I have a bowl with talcum powder, and I just brush them on both sides and put them together, leave them for a night, then shuffle them nicely so that the most of the powder goes off, and then they're smooth and new, and they've been worked. Of course, I smudge them with sage or incense. So they become power tools, but they start as just as pieces of paper.
Of course.
Nothing more, nothing less.
I loved your ritual, especially with the powder dog. That's cool. Gives the baby sense kind of smell.
Yeah, can you see the small thing over there? It's called fanning powder.
He actually has a fanning powder here.
Fanning powder, which is talcum powder, especially for cards.
Every day I learned something new, and today that will be the powder for the cards.
The powder for the cards, and yeah, well, actually, my clients touch the cards, so in the long run, they become,
of course,
greasy, dirty, and so the cleaning is a ritual, but they come out as new.
Absolutely,
I love it. Love it. So far for cards. I have a bit of a surprise talk for you. I want to ask you something.
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I'm really scared because he's been talking about it for a while now.
Yeah. You've been to, or you have experienced a few days with Tony Robbins. Or Anthony Robbins.
He hits my spot already.
And I've been working with this material also for about 20 years. In 2005, I started working with the law of attraction and with manifesting change through the popularity right then of the movie The Secret. It's a movie you should all see. Watch The Secret. It's on YouTube and Netflix and everywhere. A very nice, a bit superficial, but a very nice primer for learning the law of attraction, for learning that your manifestation comes from visualization, from moving towards, from positive thinking, from saying yes instead of no. And so that was, to me, a very big eye-opener. Later, I got my own teacher, Mike Dooley. Anthony Robbins wasn't as popular then, but he was one of the talking heads in the movie The Secret.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so he taught me.
Secret brought a lot of interesting people.
So he
on
taught
board.
me first. He taught me infinite possibilities. Then an advanced program. It's called Playing the Matrix, where you play the matrix of life and you see which are the good alleyways and which are the other alleyways you probably should avoid when manifesting change in your life. And then in 2014, I had the big breakthrough because we were working in London for a very long weekend to become an infinite possibilities trainer, to become a fully certified life coach in his material, and we could reach the ones that he couldn't reach anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. But you went to Anthony Robbins' class, which is a teacher like Mike Dooley, maybe a bit more powerful or a bit more modern, younger. And what happened to you?
Oh my goodness, I don't know even where to start. Even bringing him to the table next to the Secret movie, it's an interesting start of a conversation already. Tony Robbins, for those who don't know about him, which to me seems impossible, but there are still people who don't know who he is. He's the best coach in the whole world. And I have this rule that if I want to learn something, I will learn from the best people. And it's been my rule for life for a really long time. That's why I'm sitting next to a best tarot reader in Ireland, because he deepens my knowledge about tarot and other stuff, and not mention that I enjoy it. But the conversation was supposed to be about Tony Robbins. So Tony Robbins is changing people's lives because he brings tools we can use on daily basis, because he takes everything, all this complicated stuff about manifesting, about making change, creating change, into very simple steps we can follow every day. I'm a raving fan of Tony Robbins. I listen to him all the time. I join his inner circle as well, which I'm going through more programs just to improve myself and just to learn those skills and help other people, to show them where the change can happen. He talks about limiting beliefs, which is a big issue for every single person I know. I myself have still so many limiting beliefs. Look at him.
I'm full
That's
of them.
yeah. Then
Yeah.
it's normal and natural. And what Tony Robbins does is he basically laughs at them and gives you tools and gives you ways of overcoming them and changing your life, sometimes overnight, because it all starts with making a decision and committing to it. And when you mentioned about The Secret, I'm like, with the law of attraction, to me, and I'll be very honest here, to me that's where it starts, because there is something like law of attraction, that if we send a certain energy, we're working as a tower, like a radio station or something, which emitates that signal, and we get what we send out, we get that same energy and vibration. However, law of attraction focuses on visualizing and seeing it within your own mind's eye, which is then important step to take, because we have to have a clear goal, we have to have a vision, we have to know what we want to achieve, manifest, and discover or bring into our lives. However, what is missing to me in law of attraction is that belief that if we just think enough and visualize enough, it will magically happen and it will magically become our reality. And that's why I'm very cautious with law attraction in the first place, because it doesn't give you the why, it doesn't give you the how, because many things are just in our hands, and it's just a matter of how we act and what we do towards the thing. Is that actually that thing which makes it happen in the first place? And I believe many years ago, when I got Secret in my hand, I was obviously so in love with that book that I recommended to my friends, and it did work to me because there was that belief that it works. So I manifested a few good things, but for me that was just a first step, an introduction to this whole world of manifesting. Uh, it's a great place to start. And to me, the most important learning of The Secret was to learn about Rhonda Byrne, which is the author of that book, because she wrote few different other books, which changed my life completely and helped to change lives of others, which is the Magic Book. And
Yep.
from out of all of those books she wrote, and I read them every single one, because I love the way she's explaining things. It's very simple. It's no messing around with spirituality. There is no technical names or anything too complicated a regular person couldn't understand. However, for me, the most important would be the magic, because the magic is the secret ingredient to gratitude. Well, gratitude is this magic ingredient,
Yeah.
and that's the secret ingredient to manifestation in the first place. You have to have that feeling that it's already yours. And I think that's the secret, actually.
That's the big
that
secret. Yeah.
that feeling of knowing and trusting that if it's in my highest good, it will happen one way or another. But it won't happen if we're going to sit and do nothing. We have to take action, and we have to take appropriate steps. And that's what Tony Robbins does within his work. He's not only giving you those steps, but gives you also many tools to follow and not to chicken out after the first step. Speaking of chickens.
Chicken. Yeah. Yeah, and that's so true. And what I see.
Sorry, I'm just
Yeah.
this reading a comment.
Yeah. The Tony Robbins is not the guy from Shawshank Redemption. No.
I'm not sure.
No. Not the same, actually. Maybe there's someone with the same name in the movie. I'm not sure either. So, but okay, let's go to these teachings and teachers
Yeah.
and what they do in their programs. Um, so you go to a program with your favorite teacher, Mike. I went, especially the multiple day events were
Mm,
life changing, because you go in and you come out on the other side
yeah.
like a different
You
person.
immerse yourself,
Yeah,
and there is a
yeah.
secret in it, and I'll
That's the secret
explain in a second.
ingredient. Um, and then what happens then? Then you go back into ordinary life,
Yeah.
and after a while, you notice that you okay, there has been changes, and then and you're looking at the world differently, but the world doesn't change actually. So
Mm,
you were launched into a high, and then we get the secret Buddhism ingredient. This too shall pass, and boom, there you go off the cliff.
yes, that happens very often.
It happens very often where you. That's one of my in my corporate life. One of my co-directors always. I was very much into neurolinguistic programming, which is
Mm,
what Tony Robbins actually
exactly. That's
does,
how he started.
reprogramming the mind. And he always says it has a very short half lifetime, of
Exactly.
like radioactivity has a very
Yeah.
long half lifetime. You know, the half it takes 10,000 years for a radioactive piece of material to lose half of it. Uh, a reprogrammed person can lose half of it in a
Mm,
week,
yeah.
and the rest in the month after. And then the funny thing is that what happens then reminds me of tarot card number 14.
Mm. I was thinking, where are you going with this? And such a great point. Let's talk about the temperance card for a second.
Temperance card. The temperance card is all about uh, uh, taking the tops of the highs,
Mm,
and taking the bottoms of the lows. It's like tempering your mind. It's
yeah.
like it's a very
Integration.
it's an integration
Yeah.
part. So where you it's, I often mention rock bottom, the trampoline. It's
Mm,
when you go very deep, and boom, you you think you hit rock bottom, and it's trampoline, and you go very high. And
yeah.
none of these states are permanent.
Exactly.
None of these states are permanent. So you can go to a life changing event, and if you don't do the work after, if you don't maintain the garden, the weeds will come up again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the weeds
Absolutely.
of life, life takes you through all kinds of shit, and like we said, all kinds of new new limiting beliefs take a hold. Oh, this doesn't work. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not strong enough for this. I'm not good enough for this shit. And they're all limiting beliefs, because you are good enough for anything
Of course.
if you really want
Well,
it.
let's start with being good enough. That's just the biggest, oh my good, BS.
Yeah.
We are enough. And after Tony Robbins, I changed completely my way at the way I'm looking at the word good and what it means. Good is not enough, simple as it is.
No, no.
Because we should strive for excellence if we want to achieve something. Good will bring you only poor results. It's not equal that good will bring you good results. No, good will give you results, but they're not will be satisfying. In order to
Yeah.
good results, you need to be great. In order to get even higher, you need to strive for excellence. And that's what I believe those programs are about, to shift your perspective on something and make you achiever and
A
make
high
you
achiever.
doer, yes,
Yeah, a high
make you
achiever.
goer,
Yeah.
rather than sitting and waiting for things to magically happen.
Yeah, and there is, of course, there is a bit of truth that um, that you can, when you work with the law of attraction, when you work with a reprogrammed mind, that there is an adjustment and an energy you're sending out into the universe. So you're opening up for possibilities coming your way, and you could even be so positive that positive things start happening, because the people around you start looking at you differently,
Mhm.
because you've changed. Uh, but still, these are all things that are temporary. You have to maintain your spiritual path. You have to maintain the the positivity, you have to maintain the gratitude, you have to maintain the visualization, dreaming of your future, but also manifesting it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in my corporate life, the normally the people I would be working for, or shareholders, or managers, or things, were always a bit scared of me because, like you said, when I have an idea, I have no patience. I can't wait. When I have an idea, I just
Yeah.
start manifesting it. And especially, I noticed in my career, and that was even before I knew the law of attraction. Um, it's like I'm in my mid-20s working at a trade company. So we traded goods, and we were a seasonal company, so we traded agricultural goods. And the big problem of the company was called back orders. So they had no sometimes they didn't have stuff in stock, and the customer got half the order and half the order a week later. I developed a system because I'm a perfectionist and I'm very good at organizing my work, and I developed a system that I would call the customer and say, I can send you half now, but I can send you the whole order in 2 or 3 days, because I knew in my
Mm-hmm.
system I could see the rest of the order would be coming in 2 to 3 days. Would you want to wait? Oh yeah, sure, I want it all. So
Which reduces the cost
with the
of,
cost and everything,
yeah.
and within one season working there, I got my first promotion.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, that's striving for excellence.
Exactly.
Doing, thinking, how can I do my work better?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only thing. And at the time, I loved to do that work because it was interesting, it was
Mm-hmm.
challenging, it was helping the company I was working for, and I just went for the best I could give at the moment, and it worked effortlessly.
And that's the secret.
And
Just.
yeah, and the second secret came
Mm-hmm.
that the biggest customer of that company hired me 2 years later
Oh, wow.
in a high management, in a
Mm-hmm.
top management position.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I went from the boy the order doing boy to the the floor manager, and then purchasing manager in the big in a even bigger organization. So I flew through my career in no time.
Why? Because you gave more than was expected from you.
Yeah,
That's as simple as it
going for
is.
excellence.
Yes.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Um, I went through the Infinity Possibilities program with a friend. I haven't done it with Jan, but I'm familiar with his work, and it actually works. It's a great program.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you that Jan, using his method and within the coaching, because he's Infinity Possibilities coach, as well as life
Yeah.
coach as well.
Yeah.
I am a holistic life coach. Which brings, actually, we never talked about, perhaps we could talk about the way we're coaching people and
Next
how
week, yeah.
we could do that.
Yeah, or the week after, whatever.
That's actually an interesting topic, to have this conversation in front of the camera and bring you on the board of coaching. I'm a holistic life coach, so I take matters not only the body but the mind and the soul under consideration. Oh, lovely. That's awesome.
That's the book.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
But where I'm going with this, Jan will use his method, he will use his way of reading tarot, and I will use my methods, my way of reading cards, and I can guarantee you that using different methods, similar methods, sometimes different methods, we will deliver what it's required to be delivered, what it's needed to be, in terms of its coaching, achieving the goal and helping to push through that resistance, or bringing some answers, bringing some guidance within reading cards. Where I'm going with this is, everything works if we first of all believe in it, and if we follow on guidance, on steps we need to take. That's the whole secret. Why for some people Freudian therapy, psychotherapy will work, and for other the gastotherapy will work. Those are different approaches to a same problem, but using a different way, they help to achieve results. Adding a spiritual layer on top of it, where when you know how things work, when you're aware of that things are energy, speeds everything up, I have to say. When you're aware of the energy and the laws of energy and how it works, it opens more door, because having an understanding the process, it's just like a key which when we turn will open the door, and then we can go through the door and or start new chapter.
That's it. A new chapter in your life,
Exactly.
especially when you feel stuck, when you think, where am I going? Where is my promotion?
Mm.
I haven't been. I'm doing the same work as 10 years ago for the same salary. Why am I not there? It's something we can investigate. We can
Yeah.
investigate, and we can look into your mindset and to what how you approach life, and make some small adjustments. It's not necessary that we would change the whole of you. You come out on the other side always the same person, but the same person plus.
Mm. Yeah.
That's my goal.
I'll tell you a secret. The secret is what we actually see as pain and pleasure, because those are the two emotions which drive our behavior. And it's just a matter of what attachments we have to fear and pleasure, pain and pleasure, and what wins to gain more pleasure or avoid pain. And that's actually a secret. When we learn to identify those areas of our life, it's so much easier to move forward. But it's important to have somebody who will keep us accountable, who will support us in this process, because you need to remember the process of change is very complicated, because it's not just changing our beliefs. Very often it's changing the environment, taking and making many steps, new steps at once, which is difficult because our brain is designed to keep us in a comfort zone, because that's where safety is. Long story short, obviously, because it's more complicated than
Oh,
that.
definitely, yeah.
However, the brain will always guide us through the path of least resistance. And when we want to create change and we want to make it real, it's not only about thinking about it and doing something for a week. It's about building habits. It's about building new healthy habits. It's about changing the perspective, finding the why I want to change, finding and identifying obstacles to be prepared on what it's on my way, so I would knew how to handle that obstacle, and so on and so on. So actually a coaching practice is very interesting and it's very handy, because it keeps you on a track. It's easy to go for an event and be super hyped up and super powerful about the change and wanting things. And just like Jan said, after a while, it just the life takes over, and that driving force which we had before may be less powerful, and it simply may not be enough. So it's good to have techniques which will work for you,
Yeah.
and it can be infinity possibilities. It can be Tony Robbins' toolkit. It can be something
Yeah,
completely
the Silva
different.
method. There's so many different methods.
Exactly. And
The Julia Cameron, the artist way, is a
oh,
very good method as well.
fantastic.
I actually use Julia Cameron's way right now, right here, right now,
Mhm.
to improve my tarot. You know how?
Mm.
I'm learning myself not to just go card by card, but I'm now learning myself to integrate the 10 cards I pull normally, 10 or 12
Mm.
cards, into a single story.
I knew you're gonna say that.
That's so when you come for a reading on a Sunday or on online or with me, you get your story, a
Mm.
unique piece of story. And if it's not recorded, it's a one-off that will only exist in this here and now moment,
Yeah.
and then fade away again. And we're
Yeah.
so used to capturing everything. We film our whole lives. We record everything we do, and when we make music, we record everything.
Mm.
And where's the unique fleeting moment that just is there and then goes away, like a cloud in the sky or a bird flying by.
Mm.
And yeah, that's my artist way is developing that. Yeah.
That's lovely.
And there's someone else waking up.
Yes. Hello,
Is it
baby.
time for you? Yes.
Our producer is already giving us
Yes.
so it's like, hey guys,
Guys.
you need to start wrapping up.
Oh.
And just to add on that, and there is one of the reasons why we decided to work together and sit shoulder to shoulder, because it creates memories, and because it creates those moments. And yes, we are recording it, it's going to be recorded, obviously.
Yeah.
But this creates this unique and special energy.
Yeah. And sometimes, like we did today, we were in a rush. We had no time to prepare anything, and I think the hour flew by.
Oh my goodness!
And there was not a second of silence.
That's what you get when there are two Geminis in the room.
It's her.
But just to sum up, sum up, what I'm getting, the biggest thing I'm getting from this conversation is, if you will tell yourself that, okay, I'm not good enough to read tarot, I'm not skilled enough, you will sit in that energy, and you, for entire life, whatever you do, whatever book you're going to read, you still will have that belief that you are not capable of reading tarot because there is somebody better out there. Of course, there will be people who study tarot for like millions of incarnations. Yes. And still they won't have all those answers, because the key comes from within. The key comes from intuition and knowing how to interpret the cards. And tarot is a great tool to learn how to discover and operate within your own intuition.
Yeah, and within coaching, you get, for instance, I use it for coaching. I use it for coaching in two ways. Sometimes just to trigger questions to the client, or to my coaching client, to say, okay, we'll pull some cards. Let's see what's playing in your life. Sometimes people come and they say, I'm stuck and I don't even know how or why. And then we have the cards. But I also do it sometimes from the other side. A client comes to me, I know what's playing in their lives, and I pick the cards before the session. And I use the cards as an inspiration, as saying, okay, this and this is playing in your life, and this is a way to approach it.
Yeah, that's an advantage of having tarot or card reader and a coach in one person, because it brings so much more to the table.
Yeah, you can bring out secrets and with or advice that normally you wouldn't get anyway.
Exactly.
Because it's unknown. It's in the realm of the unknown.
If he's holding the cards, so before we go, he's just playing with those cards, and I just need to ask for a
short reading.
Yes, guidance.
Oh, my table is a mess. You look at it.
Two Geminis in one room. Let me help you.
Yeah, get them out of the way. We do the new pack. We use the Alchemical Tarot renewed 6th edition.
Sorry, now I'm messing with
6th edition, and this is, of course, what I love about, for instance, Robert Place's decks. He's an artist, so you buy the cards from the artists themselves, and they're limited. There's not too much of them, so they're special. Yeah.
While Jan is shuffling, we have a comment with. Sorry, I was bending over the microphone. Magdalena, she said, "I really want. I can't barely see it. I nearly went for one of Tony Robbins' live events. I might think about his workshops again. Definitely, baby. Let's do it together. This is just something which should be on everybody's bucket list, to-do list, because the guy is just amazing."
So what's the story for today? I have a good one. What good will come from the current situation?
Oh yes, that's a really wonderful question.
What good will come from the current situation? And it goes for everyone. We're all in a situation.
Missing chicken.
Missing chickens, going to the dentist or something else.
Or going through a breakup.
Or a
And
breakup, or Mercury retrograde, or a
yes,
solar eclipse, or whatever.
whatever is in your life challenging you right now,
Yeah.
I can promise you that there is some goodness in it somewhere there, hidden,
Yeah.
sometimes very deep.
So, what good comes from your current situation, whoever you are? Okay, let's do this. You
I'll
pick
get
them.
to pick the card.
Yeah, face down first, okay?
Face down.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Does the
on top of that.
here.
Yeah, that's where they are.
Oh, good. I'm not used to this scenario, so yeah. This one, and then oh, this one wants to come out. There we are. Oh, that's so cool to be able to do that here.
Yeah, to do it together. So, what will come from the situation? Shall we do situation, cause, and what will come?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. So we start with the situation as a heart. It's the Ace of Wands. So the situation is we want to reboot. We want to find our purpose. We want to find our passion. And like I said, you may be stuck, or you may have, you may lack the inspiration of creating something. We see a little dragon being born.
Yeah. I'm really drawn to this clover
A
here,
clover,
which
yeah.
for me would be represent like a bit of luck
A bit
is
of
on
luck,
your
yeah,
side.
yeah. Luck is on your side,
Yeah.
and so but of course the dragon is reborn. So it's a situation where everything is possible, but still it needs to be manifested. So it's not manifest yet. So there's a bit of stuckness there.
And I'm really drawn to this fire which burns things away. It's just like I see the smoke, so something has to go away.
So the root of the element of fire is the so it's so the big thing is there, finding my passion, finding my purpose in life. The magician. So this is what's lacking. We're lacking some magic in our lives.
Yeah. Also tools to make magic happen.
Tools to make magic happen. We miss some elements. We miss the.
Oh, this is a naughty card.
The musician is butt naked.
Show Luna a naked image of a man and it'll get me jiggling.
Oh my god. Yeah. So yeah, there's fire, there's water, there's air, and there's earth, of course, below his feet. So in general, a magician has it all, but in here he
Richard is just laughing at me.
Oh well. Luna, oh well.
It doesn't take much to make
so
me happy.
And we have 2-1 cards. So the magician is number 1 from the major arcana. We have the Ace of Wands. So we have
2 ones.
2 ones. So there's so what's there is we're stuck in a previous situation, and we want to open up this new situation where we find purpose, where we have all our tools at our in our hands, where we can use everything.
Before you go, I'm really drawn to this hat here. The magician is wearing a hat. If you can see.
Yeah.
So
you know whose hat it is?
I see it as a need for adventure, as a need of if I would be reading this card to a person, I would say think of going for a holiday, even short break, just to change your perspective. Because I don't know why, but it really it brings me to the image of like a summery vibes, like a light-hearted energy, which may be needed in your life in order to get through that moment of being stuck. Just sometimes when we even go for a city break, we leave for a day or two, we come back refreshed, rejuvenated, and then ideas may start to flow.
And there's the alchemical meaning, of course, is Hermes. It's Hermes wings, and it's also
messenger.
The messenger, and of course it's the planetary meaning of the magician, which is Mercury, which is communication.
Yes.
And air. So air and fire. There's combustion there.
Yep.
So so what good will come from the situation when we let it all out, when we make it happen, when we accept the
Mhm.
challenges.
Ace of Cups.
Ace of Cups.
Wow.
Trio, three ones.
Wow.
Wow, this
I
is
do have a nice hand to pick good
yeah. You
cards.
picked 3 ones. The Ace of Water, the
Wow.
new, yeah. So that's new love, new self love, new
They
together
can't see
love. They
us.
can't see us.
No.
No. New, yeah, new being together. New. Oh, I love this. I love this idea.
What are you doing now? We're trying to figure.
Hello, that's new
Yay!
love. Yeah,
I am so amazed with this reading because having 3 ones in one
two
reading,
aces and the one from the major arcana. It's extraordinary.
it's very extraordinary. But the question was what good comes out of it. And the good is the newest, something new, something fresh, perhaps different perspective, different way of looking at it. The Ace of
Yeah,
Cups, it talks about a new emotional beginning.
that's the thing. So the biggest thing all teachers are teaching us, that our biggest goals in life are not necessarily having the right job, having the most money, is having happiness,
Mm,
and of course happiness is where the heart lives.
yeah. I
So
love the image of this
so
card.
the good that will come of the transformation, the good that will come of the of the question we're asking ourselves: where does our purpose go? Where do we go? Where do we go? It goes to new love and happiness.
What is great about this card is there are grapes growing out of that heart, out of that vapes, and grapes to me represent abundance. It's the fruits where when we do the work and patiently keep doing the work, keep maintaining this. Because when you plant a seed, it's not just that you plant a seed and it's job done, and a few months later you enjoy the fruits. No, you have to look after it. You have to bring some energy into it. And to me, it represents, if you will, feed your heart by following your passion, which is the fire, and having and finding your own tools and taking things in your own hands and making things happen. It's only the goodness which will come out, even if the situation you're in is challenging right now, but it will bring something new. And I'm amazed by looking at those
Yeah,
cards.
yeah. You had a good hand of pulling.
Thank you.
Well done.
Mm,
Yee-hee.
yes.
So
Guys,
that's
thank you so
whoa.
much for being here. Richard says that he picked number two.
Two. He would.
It can also
Yeah,
work as a
yeah,
pick
yeah,
a card
yeah. You
reading.
can pick a card, or you
Yeah.
can have the whole reading. That through yeah, through
Mm.
finding your purpose and accepting that you are a magician, you will find happiness.
Yeah, and nothing lasts forever, and this shall too pass.
It will
Every
inevitably.
challenge, yeah,
Yeah,
very often when we change the way we think about something and the way we view something, it already is changing for better.
yeah.
Mm.
So
It
let's
was
end.
such a
It
pleasure
was
to
wonderful
be a
together.
guest here
Yes,
in the cabin, out in the woods, and
and in
to
the mountains.
yeah, have
Yeah,
you here guys with us as well. Thank you
yeah.
for your
Thank you.
lovely
Yeah,
comments. We love when you guys leave comments because it enriches our conversation a lot. So thank you so much for being with us. Watch out for the new video, which we'll post around probably Thursday, about the temperance. And yeah, see you next time.